Hello and welcome to Stage and Screen with me, Misha Bryan. Today I'm at BP Pulse Live at Resorts World in Birmingham to interview monitor engineer to the stars, Mark Buckley. Mark has been a sound engineer for nearly 30 years and he specialises in mixing monitor systems for the most demanding songwriters, artists and musicians in the world. Over the last few decades, he's been working with legendary artists at the top of their game, including Bryan Ferry, Bryan Adams, Brian Wilson. There's a Bryan theme forming here. Dame Shirley Bassey, Ronan Keating, Il Divo, Katie Tunstall, Ed Sheeran, Sir Tom Jones, to name but a few. He's currently on tour with Michael Ball and Alfie Boe on their Together at Home UK tour. And I am privileged and honoured that he's taken time out of his busy schedule to talk with me today. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, great.
I'm very well. So we're here at your desk.
I know, this is where it all happens for the stage sound.
And thank you so much for letting me interrupt your busy schedule, because I'll need to get back to work in a bit. So let's get to it. Sound.
Yes.
Being a monitor engineer, it's not the most conventional of career paths. So can you tell me what the spark was for you?
Well, for me personally, when I started playing drums when I was a little boy. Mm-hmm. Went on to play in the 90s in the bands in and around London. Could never hear myself because of conventional speakers. The engineers at the time were doing as best they could with the gear they had. So I invested in a sound course, live audio engineering, and then specialised in IEM, in-ear monitors, and haven't looked back.
Oh, brilliant. So were you drumming and still gigging and then doing the sound and monitoring at the same time?
You do all sorts of jobs to make ends meet, beans on toast for, 3 or 4 years. And then, luckily, I, got a job at the Millennium Dome when it was the Millennium Experience for the opening ceremony. So I was part of the sound department there and met loads of great people. And then I branched out into rock and roll and went on, basically stopped playing drums and was more interested in doing sound for the actual musicians and artists.
Okay, so do you miss drumming?
Not really, no.
Not really, that was quick.
No, I mean, you do. My son Luca's learned to play now, so, that's a nice thing. But, and he goes to the gigs and all the rest of it, but this is much more fun.
This is where you want to be.
Yeah.
Do you think, so there's listening and appreciating music, and then there's kind of knowing the nitty-gritty, the ins and outs of what's going on in depth with the mix. Do you think that, having been a musician and having played the drums, do you think that's made you a better monitor engineer?
Yeah, I mean, I hear the term musical engineer, he or she is a musical engineer a lot. I think it helps. Mm-hmm. You need to master the technical side of stuff as well, but obviously if you're from a musical background, mm-hmm. that stands you in good stead because you can actually understand what they're talking about. Not to the level that they're at, but it definitely helps.
Do you find that people are generally content to simply hear themselves on stage without getting into the clarity, frequency and separation of things? Or do you think that people are more knowledgeable now about what they want in their ears and in their monitors?
These days they are. These days they are, because of all iPods, iPhones. You can have a mix whatever you want, whatever sound for listening to music. But musicians know what these do, and there's no getting away from that. Some do, some don't. But they'll never compromise on what they want, because ultimately it affects their job and how they listen to stuff.
Yeah. So do you think your efforts as a monitor engineer, do you think they are garnering the acknowledgement they deserve? And do you think that people realise the amazing work that you're doing?
I don't know. I keep getting asked back by high-profile artists year on year, so I'm fully booked for the next 12 months. So that's my accolade. That's my acknowledgement. So there's a lot of great engineers out there. It's tough these days, and I'm not getting any younger.
But you look like a spring chicken, Mark.
Well,
nearly 30 years in the business. That's a long time, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah.
Yeah,
lots changed.
Does your mixing technique vary depending on the genre, the venue, or the artist?
Mine personally doesn't change. At the end of the day, you've got a band. They're all playing different stuff, different genres. What's coming into the desk is only what I'm reinforcing. So they will already have their sound sorted out. I'm just turning it up, reinforcing the sound for their in-ears or speakers. But things like, you know, reverberation times, deadening sound, you know, that is definitely, you would definitely manipulate that.
Which factors do you take into account when arriving at a new venue? Obviously, audience makes a difference to what the sound's going to be, but do you take into account like whether the venue's got made out of breeze blocks, or if there's soft furnishings around, if the ceiling is higher, if it's more hunkered down?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can't change the venue, but, you know, it is what it is. That someone sold a ticket somewhere. A lot of people are coming to see it that night. What I do as a rule of thumb is I'll always go out on the stage, clap my hands, stamp on the floor, just to check the stage environment, whether it's a hollow stage, that's going to affect the low end frequencies, and also the reverb times. You know, when you're clapping your hands, you can get so much information by just doing that simple test.
Oh wow, I did not know that. So once you've done the clapping, do you come straight here and then start making adjustments? Or
then I will get onto the mics and all the rest of it, and set up, and then go out with the in-ear systems, and you know, when the band are starting playing, I'll go out and have a listen. It's very important to go out if you're doing monitors for an artist. I always go out where the artist is standing, because it's never going to sound the same when you're standing behind the desk. Mm-hmm. They won't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Most people go, oh no, you can't go out there, you know, while they're performing. No, that's nonsense. They would rather you be there and experience what they're experiencing. Then you can do a better job.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about, isn't it? God, that's so interesting. I didn't know about the clapping thing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you learn that at college?
No, I just made that up as I go, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Can you get a read from just walking in and speaking as well?
Yeah, shouting, you know. It's you know, just 1 2 1 2 doesn't really do it for me. I'm not really that sort of way inclined, you know. But I will shout something, and you know, then you'll get a hey hey hey, and then you'll really understand what the venue's doing.
Okay, I did not know that. These are the insights, people. I'm enjoying myself. Right. So, is there any special gear that you use?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing for me is the desk. I mean, you know, this is the SD7. This was bought in 2007. Mm-hmm. 2022, it had an update to Quantum. Yeah, it's a very powerful mixing platform. You could do anything on this.
Right then, Mark, can you please give us a beginner's crash course on the monitor desk?
We haven't got that much time.
Show us what some of the buttons do, please.
Okay, so like any conventional desk, you've got the fader coming in. The beauty of the digital desk now is like you'll have the mixes, the various mixes. You can press them; they go flip to fader, so the pots actually become the faders, and then you could just manipulate whatever you need to with touch of a button. Also with this, you've got a snapshot library. Each song has got its own mix for different people. So if you look at Alfie's mix there, the mix changes from song to song.
Brilliant.
And you can adjust that to suit, and it will change from night to night. And then here I've got the ambience that I can bring in for the audience. Mm-hmm. So he likes a lot of that. Everyone likes a lot of people cheering at him, don't they? So I've got that. The next is my reverb. They're my main two faders that I will use in the show tonight, along with this blue button. And hopefully it should be a great gig. Also, you notice I've got the time code counter here. Mm-hmm. The time code's set with the video and the lights, so when it will get to a certain point on the time code, it will click down, so the desk will run automatically. So there's no need for me to do it organically. It will run it normally. That's pretty trick. I like that because it leaves me to be able to listen to what they're doing instead of going, oh, I'm on the next song. No, I'm already there.
Okay, so that's actually an introduction, like a resource that's actually been really helpful and positive, and it's enabled you to stay sharp. So it's not like the technology is taking stuff away from your ability.
No, absolutely. There's so much stuff going on underneath that I'm not actually in control of through macro buttons and whatever you've programmed. Mm-hmm. The problem is with these desks, you've got to remember what you've programmed because they're so powerful. They're doing everything else under the desk, and you're actually mixing. You've got to remember what you've actually done.
Got you.
So you don't despair up your own arse.
Basically.
So we're running, I think on this ball and bow, we're running only about 70 channels coming in. I've got about 40 out, and then Aviom system and various in-ears, hardwire in-ear packs, that sort of thing. A couple of wedges on stage, so it's not even breaking into a sweat. But it's a very powerful desk,
You said 70 channels.
70 inputs.
Only.
Yeah. Only, yeah. I mean, some of the gigs we do go crazy, and you could have double racks, and we're getting into a couple of these, and you're onwards of 250 channels, so.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That is a lot. So is that just a much bigger, like how many people are in this band?
I think there's about 20 in this, but you can have a lot more than this, and you can have a lot less. So, on Tom Jones, for example, I use a Digico 338. And it's basically a 6-piece band, and it's very standard setting. But the noise, it's a brand new desk. The noise floor on that is incredible. So, Tom heard it when we changed to that. We were in Chile last year, and we changed to that because we couldn't get the SD7, and Tom noticed it immediately, the clarity. So.
Right. Okay. You just mentioned noise floor.
Yeah.
For the layman like me, can you please explain what that is?
Noise floor system noise is sound generated from the console. As soon as you put your in-ears in and you turn the volume up, if you've got nothing going on, no sound at all from like instruments or speech, you're going to hear the system noise.
Okay.
The less system noise you have, the better the sound quality.
Okay.
So on something like a Digico 338, there's very minimal. It's one of the few desks I've used where I'm like, have I actually got anything turned on? It's that clear. So that's very important. There's portions of music in each genre where you'll hit the system noise at some point. You don't want to achieve that because you want perfect clarity. But it's very, very. It's a hit and miss thing. If you've got old equipment, the more I don't use plugins. I use what's on this desk. But the more plugins you use, the more external devices, it's all adding to the noise of the system.
Right.
So you've got to take that into account.
I've got you.
Basically, sensitivity to the in-ear packs as well is another factor. I run the sensitivity at -8 on the PSM that we're using here today. So then I'm not slamming the desk, but it's I'm running the desk pretty hot, so we're about neg 30. So using the desk power going into the transmitter.
Okay.
So when someone turns it up to number 5, they're getting full chat.
Right. Got you. God, it's so complicated. I mean, I knew it was complicated. I knew you wanted to be here doing nothing and twiddling knobs and stuff, but it's really in depth, isn't it? Has some of this knowledge, some of it you gained when you were at college, and then other bits have you picked up as you've been going along?
Yeah, you pick it up from your friends, people on the road that you see, people that you work with well. Everyone's got a little bit of knowledge. And then even the darkest day when you've had a terrible gig, you've learnt something.
Right.
Every day's a school day, so.
Yeah, for sure. And are there different things about different desks that are more difficult to use, or are they pretty much kind of the same thing?
They all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Sound, we can't change. Physics is physics. It is what it is. And technology will always move on, will always be quicker, more advanced, more powerful. You can add on plugins, add on more channels, but the essence, sound is sound. It will never change. There's always a different way of approaching it, but you can't change physics.
Yeah.
No one can.
Yeah, got you.
No desk can, no engineer can.
Yeah. So you were talking about this desk that you use, but then you say you use a different desk on Tom. Like how guitarists have a particular guitar for playing blues or whatever genre they're playing, and drummers have a particular snare drum, or, singers change the tone and placement of their voice according to what genre they're singing, Do you do that with desks, or is that just not a thing?
No. I mean, the only reason I'm using the SD7 on this is because we have 2 principal artists. We've got Michael and Alfie. So enables me to have 2 control groups independent. So
Right.
each song I've programmed to give them a different mix independently of each other, and I can control that on the fly. So that's a very powerful thing. On the 338, you don't get that. I've only got Tom Jones to concentrate on, and it's one bank
Oh,
to
brilliant.
control.
So Tom's got your full and undivided attention.
Well, they all have.
They've all got it all at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
Obviously, touring and being away, and whenever we speak, you're like, I'm doing this tour now, I'm going off and doing this. You spend a lot of time away from home. So how does that affect your relationships? And
it's tough on people at home, and even more so on children. So I've got 2 boys, but they know that they're on. I'm on FaceTime, WhatsApp, 24 hours a day. And every time you do go home, you make it like it's the best time in the world, you know,
Oh.
and live life to the full, because, you know, we can all sit there going off and doing tour after tour, which I do, but family's family as well. So you have to be, I mean, this year it's very busy. I'm not going home until roughly the end of August, so that's a long time away. So, you know, on the young uns it's tough, but they understand what I do as well, and they get to come out on different countries and get to visit and play around with the desks and play around with the drum kit. So it's not a bad life, is it?
No, it's not really, and I guess they must be so proud of you because it's like so rock and roll. Like,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun job, isn't it? You know, and you know, you should always say to them, you know, do a job that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. You know, and it's very true for me in this, because I do love it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it to the extent where we're doing it now.
Yeah. And are they inspired by you? I know you said Luke is playing drums, right?
Luke's playing drums, yeah. He's still 13. Leon's TV production, film, so he's doing very well on that. So yeah, they're off. They're doing their thing.
Whenever you're away on tour, because obviously touring becomes a microcosm, doesn't it? You're with the same people day in, day out, and you're on the stage with them, then you're on the bus with them, you're at dinner with them.
Yeah.
What do you do to kind of take time out for yourself?
I always go out walking, because we go to some beautiful places, and you know, I don't want to sit there in my hotel room watching Netflix. I mean, a lot of people do that, and that's great for them. But you know, we go all over the world, and you know, it's great to see different cultures and different cities. And you know, when you're touring, you're in a bubble, yes, but you can still go out there and see what's in the street, and you know, it's lovely. It's great, and that's a great part of the job as well.
Yeah, to see loads of different places. I saw that you went on a bike tour somewhere.
Yeah,
where was that?
I hired a motorcycle out in San Diego, and we went up through the canyons and the hills, and it was beautiful.
Brilliant.
A couple of days, yeah. What more do you want?
So many memories and like loads of stories as well. It's like this job gives you like such a full and rounded life and so much experience, doesn't it? So you can write your memoirs.
One day.
When they come
Not
out.
yet. Not yet.
Not yet. You're not finished.
Not yet.
Which do you prefer? Large bands or solo versus solo artists? Arenas versus more intimate venues, or doesn't it matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me about the venue size or where we're playing, but the more the merrier with the band. You know, I mean, it's challenging when you've got 20 plus musicians on full chat, and then you've got the artists to deal with as well. The artists always come first in a sound check environment, but you've got to service everyone. So yeah, to juggle that is really, really exciting.
I bet it is.
It's quite stressful, and you've got to stay calm. That's the key. It's just staying calm, breathe. You'll get to everyone, but you don't have to get to everyone at the same time.
I understand, yeah, and I guess it's tricky with like bleed and people going, no, I can't hear myself. Do you have a particular order that you go round the stage, or do you start with the artists and then whip
No,
round
at
everybody else?
this level, you should already have it dialed in to a point where you get them to they all turn up, they're twanging away, you know, and just say, right, go on, knock one out, you know, and then, you know, then you can fine tune as you go. If it's a complete car crash, which it shouldn't be, you know, at this stage, you should be able to just go, right, off you go, and then you can fine tweak as you go, you know, but you should, you know, anybody worth their salt should be able to just get the band up and running, no matter how big they are, and then, you know, because you would have, prior to being turning up at the venue or your desk, programmed it to a point.
Okay.
So you would have had a starter for 10. Might not be perfect, but it'll be enough to get them through a first song where they can actually go to, well, I can't hear this, I can't hear that. Musicians are very, very quick to go, I can't do this, I can't do that, you know, it's all a hullabaloo. If they stopped and just think about sound for 1 minute and then add their ears in, they can always hear something.
Yeah.
But what can't they hear to actually perform? And that's what they need to build on.
And are you really good at keeping people calm in those situations?
I'm outspoken, like a lot of monitor engineers are. You know, I'm totally calm, yeah, because I'm securing what I'm doing here. That said, I can't perform a miracle. The best thing is for them to just keep going, and then we will get to it, and we will make it perfect at some point.
Got you.
And speed is the essence.
Oh, right. In the soundcheck, speed is of the essence.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Because they don't want to mess around, you know, with their in-ears and all the rest of it. They probably want to rehearse. Production costs these days are what they are. they're using a lot of the sound checks, I find, sometimes to do their rehearsal period. So they want to be getting on doing their, you know, what they're doing in the middle eight, or they've changed the verse here, blah, blah, blah. They don't want to be, you know, messing about with a reverb time on their vocal, you know. So you should have that dialed in as a monitor engineer.
Okay, so in order to facilitate that, how early do you have to get ready on gig day, and how long does it take you to prepare and get the desk set up so that you're happy with everything here before the actual sound check?
with the guys that we have here, we have some of the best in the world working around me, and with 2 or 3 hours for all of this, we could get set up to a stage where we're ready for line check.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
you know, for the band to walk in and just bash away.
That's really quick, isn't it?
Everyone knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
and it's all modular, so it's just plug and go, off you go.
Brilliant. So that's set up and check everything, and it's all good to go.
Yeah.
See, that's a pro right there. That's a pro right there. Okay, you were Alfie Bowe's tour manager on a gig in London recently.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, we spend a lot of time with the artists, trust develops, and then, just sort of fell into that. It was exciting, I enjoyed it, but I much prefer doing sound, and, you know, I'll leave that to professionals that get paid a lot of money to actually take that responsibility on, because it's not for me full time.
Really?
No.
So you enjoyed it? Were you good at it? And that's another thing.
Of course I was, yeah. He was very happy at the end of the night. So, yeah. It's you've definitely got. I mean, in monitors, you've got to spin a lot of plates with what's going on. With that type of job, you've got to spin even more plates to keep everyone happy. The people that are paying for the artists to come in, the artist and everybody around, security, fans. Fan pressure, they want an autograph, all the rest of it. You've got to manage all of that. Cars coming in, you know, it's a lot going on. And it's not for me. Yeah.
It really isn't.
I enjoyed it, but it was, you know, I was like, at the end of the night, I was very tired.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of vibe, isn't it? You're all kind of tucked back here, kind of doing your sound, and you had to wear a suit as well, and you had to dress for it.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to be front and centre, so there's no hiding behind a big desk.
No, there isn't. Did you feel all naked and weird, or was it all right?
No, it was okay, but, you know, as I say, it's not for me as a change of career.
I think you'd be a good tour manager. You're quite officious.
Yeah, maybe. One day. I don't know, not just yet, though.
Not just yet, no. Too busy doing sound. Okay, a little bit of a tasty one here for you, Mark. Who is the most difficult person you've ever worked with? You don't have to name any names, but just give us a nice, juicy story.
Well, in 30 years of doing this, nearly 30 years of doing this, I have definitely met some weapons-grade assholes, from wearing wacky headdresses that makes monitors scream through the wedges, to, you know, anxiety attacks that are clearly not mine or the security guard down the front's fault.
Right.
But yeah, you do get some pretty extreme behaviour. But then also, I'm lucky. I've worked with some beautiful people and very professional people. So I'm lucky in that regard.
Well, that's good, isn't it? When these difficult people arise, how do you deal with those situations?
We just have to stay calm and be true to yourself. You know, you have to be efficient and, you know, professional. And that always carries you through, because people will respect that no matter who they are. And they will go, well, he or she knows what they're doing, and they usually leave you alone. It's when you try and butt horns with people that's where the problem will start.
Yeah.
Which I have done.
Really, Mark? Never.
Okay, you can scrub that out.
So that's the difficult people. And conversely, who's the easiest person that you've ever worked for?
Well, that's Sir Tom Jones. I mean, I've been with Tom since 2010. He's the ultimate professional, and he's a lovely, lovely person as well. He's the ultimate gentleman.
Oh, that's really
I wouldn't have
good.
stayed with that camp that long for that amount of time. Very lucky, very lucky.
Yeah.
Very privileged to work in a team like that.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. However you're consuming this podcast, please consider subscribing, liking, and leaving us a 5-star review, as this helps us to reach a wider audience. Your support is very much appreciated. Now back to the show. So what is coming up next for you, Tom? More Tom?
So yeah, this is show 10. We've got 2 more shows after this, the O2 in London, and then we got Brighton, and then we go to Toronto with Tom the next day, and then we are going to be out there for 6 weeks, 2 weeks at home, then straight out to the Euro Tour. Takes us up to the end of August. So it's quite a long stint. And he's 85, so, you know, he's just starting out.
But he still sounds so amazing, doesn't he? Like,
Absolutely.
It's incredible. Like, how is it getting to mix somebody with such an amazing voice? Like, so he's right on the microphone, you know, he knows what he's doing, he's got weight and he's got beautiful tone all the way through his register.
Absolutely.
Is that just a joy?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and the band are great as well. They know what they're doing. You know, it's just throw and go, really. And as I say, he'll sing anywhere. Bars, clubs, boats, planes, anything. And he always sound great as well.
Good man. That's what we do. I love it. So what are your plans for the future? Do you think you'll be 75 and still standing behind this desk?
Absolutely not. No. I'll retire one day with a motorcycle, riding in the sun. That's exactly what I want to do.
Oh, really?
Because I don't want to be sitting behind this when I'm old. I enjoy it now, but, you know, it's not for the rest of my life.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy and you've got sound check in a little while. Enjoy the rest of the tour, the rest of the dates, and being on the road with Tom. And yeah, stay fit and healthy and sane till August.
Thanks so much for coming and enjoy the show tonight.
Will do. Thank you.